What's up, everybody? We're back with World Cup video part 2. Today we'll recap the first round. We're going to reveal our first video raffle winner. We will discuss the round of 16 and quarterfinal with our predictions. And we'll talk about our new raffle coming at you next. Alright guys, we're back. Second video here, World Cup. It's been a great first round thus far. We're going to recap all the action. We're going to reveal our World Cup video part 1 raffle winner. We're going to give you our predictions for the round of 16 and the quarterfinal matchups that you can expect this weekend. We're also going to be talking about the newest raffle that we have for all of our viewers out there. So, let's get into it. First round, it's been a fantastic tournament. I think the expectations have just been blown away, the excitement. We've barely seen any games at a 0-0 scoreline. We've seen goals, we've seen VAR, we've seen all types of stuff. So what surprises have you seen in the first round?
You know, I think there's been some interesting turnout since the first round here. You know, seeing Japan win was something that's really amazing for me. They're a team that I didn't expect to make it through, that really shook things up. And also Germany's loss is something that really surprised me. I didn't see that coming, so that's something that kind of caught me off guard a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think the signs were there that Germany might struggle. I think the decision to leave Sané off the roster was head-scratching.
It was talked about quite a bit before going in.
They could have really used a dynamic winger that could have gotten behind the defense because, I mean, they controlled the games, but, you know, you just didn't see the finishing touches from them. Big disappointment. They're just the latest World Cup winner to actually go out in the first round. So yeah. I know a lot of people looked past it. They didn't see Germany being, you know, suffering the same fate this time. But, hey, it was a tough group, and hats off to the other teams in the group. Sweden, Mexico, and Korea really gave Germany everything they could handle. So notable games, I thought that for sure the Korea over Germany game might be the most stunning result of the first round for me, just because it was a game that Germany knew they had to win, and I thought they were going to come in and put up 3-4 goals and walk out of there going into the second round. What did you think?
You know, I think a lot of people thought that same thing. They were able to get the late goal in the game before that, and I think everyone kind of thought that same thing. They'll find a way to get the result. It's 89 minutes of soccer, and then Germany wins kind of mentality. So I think a lot of people thought that, but you know, kudos to South Korea for coming out and really putting out a performance. You know, they didn't give up, and they played for the pride of it, and they played a hell of a game against Germany, and they really played tactically well against them. And the 2 goals they got, you know, the first goal was great on them. The second one, what is Neuer doing, like, way out? I mean, he wasn't anywhere near his goal at this point.
I feel like that was a FIFA goal, like, where you're, like, screwing around, and then
you didn't realize you were a keeper, and he's wandering off somewhere.
I mean, I get why they were desperate. They needed to score 2 goals there, so they weren't worried about giving up another goal. But it was nice to see that usually that doesn't bite a team when the goalie goes forward and then they get scored on. It just usually goes away.
It got him hard in this one.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, another notable game. I mean, right away, Mexico's win against Germany, I think, set the tone for maybe an upset type first round. So, it was great action. I thought that Sweden was very surprising to me.
They were good.
Shout out to my boy Chase, huge Swedish supporter. I doubted them. I didn't think they were going to go through, so they won the group. That was pretty crazy to me. Well-deserved. Fair play to them. So moving on, I think, I did predict that Argentina was going to crash.
And they almost did.
I was about 5 minutes away from them crashing.
It was tough.
They struggled. I did expect them to struggle. So I'm not gonna take the L on this one because they did get through, but they didn't get first. And I mean, it definitely was a miracle almost that they got through. So that was a very notable game in the first round, at least for me, and I know for the people that watch our first video. So I know I was going to take some heat for it, but it is what it is. In terms of big moments in the first round, what are maybe one or two big moments that you saw? Maybe, I don't know, goals or celebrations or something that really caught your eye. Maybe a result that changed your complete outlook on the tournament.
I think the biggest moment for me, and since USA went out, and I'm a little bitter about that still, but that's a different video for a different day. I'm a little, I was a little surprised when Mexico beat Germany, and I thought that was a big surprise for me. And for me, that's a highlight of this game. It sent Germany down that path to not qualifying. I think it shook their confidence. We talked a bit about their back line not being the best in this whole tournament. They gave away goals left and right, and so I think it just shook them, and I think that was a big moment. We also saw a couple other big teams kind of struggle. Colombia, Argentina, Brazil even had a couple of questionable results where they didn't win it till the very end. So for me, those were the moments to look for in this World Cup, and we've seen a lot of those where the Giants at least stumbled. They might not have fell, but they stumbled, and that makes for an exciting World Cup to me. Yeah,
you're right. There was not too many of the big teams that put together 3 great games that looked like,
absolutely,
they're headed to the final. For me, the biggest moment, one notable moment in the first round that I think changed the fate of some teams was Colombia's red card in the first game against Japan.
Yeah.
They get a red card early in that game. They end up losing. Japan ends up moving on in the group. They actually moved on via the fair play tiebreaker of all tiebreakers. But you take away that result, they got 1 point in their next 2 games. I mean, they won a game where they were a man up for 80, 85 minutes of the game. So you kind of, it's I don't know if it's well-deserved or whatever, but I don't think they were one of the strongest 2 teams. I think Senegal was a stronger team than Japan. But, yeah, that key moment, that Colombian mishap turned, I guess, the group upside down for me.
It really did. And Colombia really struggled to even get through. It took them to the last game. The whole yellow card, Senegal not making it through, that's a little heartbreaking to me. I mean, I get what they're going for with that, where they're trying to encourage fair play. They're trying to make the game a more civilized matter. I get it. But it's a little heartbreaking for the Senegal fans. And, I'm a Sadio Mane fan, so I'm a little disappointed not to see him go through.
Yeah, for me, you mentioned the biggest disappointment was Germany. For me, my biggest disappointment was Senegal and Nigeria, and basically just Africa in general in terms of them not having a team going into the second round. I did pick Nigeria and Senegal, not just because they have really nice uniforms, but because they have good players. They're very fun teams to watch, and we saw their quality. They didn't advance, but I mean, Nigeria, they could have easily won the game against Argentina. Maybe a call goes their way, like that handball, could have potentially changed the game.
Yeah.
They gave up a late goal. And then you see Senegal. I mean, I thought they played Colombia as well as any team in the first round played Colombia, but they go home. And for me, that was my biggest disappointment. Nigeria and Senegal, at least not one of them going through and representing the continent of Africa. But yeah, thanks for all the support on the first video. Everybody who commented and shared the content, we greatly appreciate it. We are having another raffle winner. We're going to have new details at the end of this video on how to enter for this part. The prize will be a $25 Visa gift card for the World Cup Video Part 2 Raffle Winner. This, however, is for the free scarf that we promised, and I'm going to go ahead and reveal the name. Again, we appreciate the support. All right, we have Zach Ekrit. All right, Zach Ekrit, you're the winner. I'll be contacting you and telling you how you can retrieve your free scarf. So good job, man, and thanks for supporting the channel. Hope that you enter the next raffle too, and yeah, thank you again.
Yeah, that's a scarf of any team you want, so go ahead and make sure to pick that out. When we contact you, have that ready, we'll get that out to you. So let's move into the round of 16.
So Sounds good.
So what are you thinking on this first game? It's going to be Uruguay and your team, Portugal.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough game. One thing that does stand out to me is Jimenez, one of the center backs for Uruguay. It sounds like he's going to miss the game via injury. He's the one who scored that late winner in their first match. That could be important. Uruguay has not given up a goal yet. They had a fairly easy group. I think we can agree on that.
Yeah.
They might have their hands a little bit more full this game. We'll see what Portugal team comes out. Portugal has not been overwhelming, but again, in Euro Cup, they weren't very great in the first round and ended up winning the whole thing. So I think it's going to be a fun game. I actually expect to see some goals in this game. I do think Portugal will take the W. I might be a little biased, but I do think they move on from this game, but I wouldn't be shocked if they lost.
You know, I agree with you. Uruguay did have a little bit easy of a group, but they still struggled to me a little bit. They didn't win as fluently as I thought they would. They have a strong, potent attack, and we just didn't see the best of that. The defense doesn't look that great. It looks like some of the bigger teams may be able to go at them. So for that, I don't know if Uruguay is going to go through for me. Now it's up to Portugal and CR7 for me. If Ronaldo shows up like he has so far this tournament, Portugal goes through. And I think he will. He's having a hell of a tournament right now. He's probably up there for running of the Golden Boot in the tournament. I think Kane is also up there in there. So
Kane, Lukaku's up there.
Yeah, so there's a couple, but I think he's definitely there. And I think he shows up, he puts in a couple goals. He goes at 2-1 probably, somewhere in there. Portugal goes
you're
through.
picking Portugal?
I am.
Oh, man. All right, well, moving on. France and Argentina. This is going to be this is a notable game.
It'll be interesting. Yes.
It's one of those things where if Argentina wins, you have Messi and Ronaldo in the quarterfinal, and I don't know.
That would be a big game.
I don't know if Fox could write a better script for their ratings, but let me ask you first. What do you see in this match? I mean, Argentina, they struggled, but we've seen teams struggle in first rounds and then find it, and then they end up finishing strong. As for France, I thought they were pretty good. I think they got better as the tournament went on. So what are you thinking? What can we expect?
I think it's a young France. I think it's a good team, and we've seen some great performance by them so far in this group stage. But we haven't seen a fluent team. We haven't seen a team playing at their top, and we haven't seen players really playing as a team. I think they still lack that little bit of an edge to get through. But on the other side of that, Argentina also barely qualified. Like you said, they almost crashed out of this. Messi did have a better game at the end on the last game there. They do seem like there's, whatever turmoil's been going on in the background, kind of maybe settled down, and they did perform a little bit better. But I think a little too late for me for Argentina. I think France's individual talent is going to be overwhelming for Messi, to be honest with you. And France is going to go through for me.
Yeah, it's one of those games where I feel like both teams are kind of hamstrung by their coaching. Both teams have great individual talent. You see it with Argentina. I mean, not only Messi, but they have other players. Yeah, they have not all performed well together, but you see it individually. They have great quality.
They do.
My problem with Argentina is their back line. They changed keepers because Caballero had probably the worst goalkeeping error of the tournament so far. They're very inexperienced, and I think France with Griezmann, and it doesn't really matter to me who's with them, if it's Giroud, Dembele, Mbappe. I just don't see Argentina holding them under 2 goals. So with that said, I got France going through. I don't think that this game is actually going to be as close as a lot of people think. I think that France will win by maybe 1 goal, but I think they'll win it more comfortable than not.
They'll have possession. They'll control the game a little bit better.
Yeah. All right, so Brazil, Mexico. I know a lot of people out there who are watching this are super excited about this game. You have Brazil going for their World Cup win. All right, so they're expecting to win the whole tournament. Mexico had a great first 2 games, and then they just blew that third game. They were actually fortunate, in my opinion, to be moving on, but they're there. They played 2 great games. We're not going to take anything away from that.
No.
Brazil, Mexico. I think Brazil will win this game. I think that it will be a tough game, though. Mexico has proven that they can get up for the big games, and they have players who are very aggressive. They come out strong. Mexico, I think, will play exactly that way. I think that Brazil will get a late goal to win this game, but I wouldn't be surprised if Mexico actually took an early lead. I think it's going to be a very, very volatile game. I think we'll see a lot of yellow cards. We'll see a lot of feisty play. I'm super excited about it. I don't know if you can tell, but
yeah. No. I think this is one of the more exciting games in the round of 16. Honestly, I'm with you. I'm excited to see it. Now, I've thrown my hat in the Mexico corner. As a USA fan, I know it's a little, controversial, but I have some Mexican ties, so I'm going there. I think it's a good Mexican team. I think on a good day, I wouldn't doubt Mexico being able to beat Brazil. I wouldn't. I think they have the ability. They showed it against Germany. They're a team that can perform, and like you said, they seem to do better against top teams than they do against teams that they probably should getting easy victories against.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in that sense, it's not unthinkable to think Mexico goes through here. But Brazil's stacked. Brazil has so many good players. They have a starting 11 and another 11 after that to put on the bench, coming off the bench. And they're a team that has shown that they can get those late goals to get the results. I just think Brazil's the better team, and I think they snatched the victory on this one. I think Brazil's going through.
Yeah, I think this game, too, I think Mexico's fate relies on who scores first, in my opinion. Like, if they score first, I think they have a really good chance to win. But I think if they get scored on, especially early, I think they'll fizzle a little bit. I think we saw it in the Sweden game. They were playing well, and then they got scored on, and then it just didn't seem like they were the same Mexico. So I think it'll be a good game. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that game and all the other games below. But moving on, Belgium and Japan. Belgium comes in. They won their group.
Belgium!
I don't know if winning the group or getting second place was the best thing to do in this group. It seemed like England and Belgium really didn't want to throw all their chips in the middle of the table, but we have Belgium and Japan. What say you to start off?
Well, Belgium is my team that I've been throwing my hat in from the start, too. I know I've been following Mexico for that, but I never really saw Mexico being the team to go to the end. Belgium is the team that I've secretly wanted to win this tournament, and I feel like still can. Now, they might not be the team that I think is going to, but I think they have the best chance of all the underdog teams. So I'm going to go with Belgium. Japan's had a great run. They maybe got a little lucky to get where they are now. They've gotten some fortunate results that really worked out in their favor, and that's great for Japan. I think, kudos to those guys. But Belgium does not have a hard time. They go through on this one. They're facing Brazil in the next round.
Yeah, I don't see many problems for Belgium in this game. I think they walk through this like maybe a 2-3 goal win. They have the talent. They should get through this game, and they should meet Brazil or Mexico in the next round. I think Japan is a big underdog here, so I think it's pretty cut and dry. All right, so moving to the bottom half of the bracket, some people would say the bottom half is the more favorable draw. That's where some of these teams, I would say like Spain, Croatia, England, I think they're all happy that they're in the bottom bracket. So Spain and Russia are going to kick things off for the bottom half. What do you see there?
That's Spain to me all day. Russia's kind of like Japan for me. The group kind of worked out for them. They got a bit fortunate to get through. Russia put in some great performances early on in the group stages, beating some teams that like Saudi Arabia and so good performances, but not the best team to beat. So I think that they did well up to this point, but the hosts are out. Spain goes through. Spain's just, again, they're like Brazil. They've got good players, and any one of those good players can step up. And Costa right now is actually scoring really well, so I think we'll see him doing a lot more.
Yeah. This one shouldn't be too difficult. Russia's a home team, and their game against Uruguay, I mean, they came down to earth. They won their first 2 games. They did it in style, and but I think they were playing a hurt Egypt and an inferior Saudi Arabia. So I got Spain going through. When Russia had to play Uruguay, I mean, they got beat pretty easily.
Yeah.
So Spain, I think it'll be comfortable for them. I think they'll hold the ball. Spain's just a team that when they play teams that are not as good as them, they can suffocate them because they can just hold possession and just keep it the entire time.
They're good.
So, moving on. Croatia and Denmark. For me, I think Luka Modric has been the best player of the first round.
Definitely.
Croatia looked good. I predicted them to get through their very tough group pretty easily, and they did. I see no problems here. I would actually be very surprised if Croatia didn't win this game. What do you think?
Yeah, I liked Denmark from the beginning, and a lot of people probably wouldn't have gave them the credit to get out of the group. I did back them to get out of the group, and they did. I think they didn't have the greatest performances, but they had solid performances. And solid performances do good to get you this far, but great performances win games. Croatia does have Modric and a couple other players on that team that I think can really influence the game more than there is on Denmark. I think Eriksen's the only real noticeable player for me on Denmark.
Poulsen is a key player for them, but it's Eriksen's show, basically.
Yeah. So I honestly think Croatia goes through. Denmark had a great performance, but Croatia just outclasses them in this one.
Yeah, I think Denmark was a little fortunate to beat Peru in the opening match, and like sometimes opening matches can change the way that a group plays. Like if Peru, they dominated that game. If they would have won or even drawn that game, like they might go through. Denmark gets 3 points. Then they play, what was it, Australia their next game. Like it's a little bit easier after that. So. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I don't think Denmark was even the second best team in their group, but Croatia is looking really good. So, moving on. This is a good one, and I'll ask you first. Sweden and Switzerland, and no, they are not the same country.
No,
if you were confused, they are not. They wear different shirts.
Completely different colors.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Sweden and Switzerland, a lot of times people get those countries mixed up, especially when it comes to international soccer. They're very similar in their underdog approach, but being a team that's always there from Europe,
Yeah.
So what do you see in this matchup?
Sweden has had an amazing tournament, and no one saw it from them, to be honest. I can't say too many people saw them winning their group and moving through like they have. So with that said, it's hard to go against them, but this Switzerland team, I've kind of backed from the beginning as well. They're up there with Belgium and Mexico with me, and there's kind of been something about them since the beginning I thought can really do something in this tournament. And so it might be the long shot, but I really think they can go there. They have the heart, they have the players to get a result. So I'm actually going to say Switzerland on this one.
Switzerland, okay. So for me, I mean, who doesn't love Swedish fish,
It's some IKEA, right?
You know what? I doubted Sweden in the first round. They went in. They almost beat Germany. I thought they were a little unlucky in that game, but they did what they needed to do. They showed up against Mexico, and they didn't just show up. They shut them up.
Yeah.
I got Sweden winning this game. I don't know if it's going to be pretty, but I have them going through. It might go to penalties or something like that, but I got Sweden, you got Switzerland. All
That's
right.
our first, I think, differ on this.
There we go.
So.
And now we're moving on to Colombia and England. How great are the Colombian fans in this tournament? Did you catch that Colombia-Poland game?
Some of it. I was at work.
It was like a buzz the whole time, and they played very well. The Colombian fans have been fantastic this tournament. England looks good, finally. So this one's tough for me. I got England going through, but man, part of me believes that because James Rodriguez is injured. He had to leave today's game. I just don't think he's going to be fit here.
Absolutely.
It's going to be just a few days. I mean, if it's his leg, if it's a muscle injury, and he had that injury coming into the tournament, and he had to leave. I mean, 10 minutes into the game today, like. I got England going through. Harry Kane does it. I think he scores 1 or 2 goals. He's pretty reliable. So, England.
Yeah, I hate to agree with you again because, we agreed on pretty much everything in this one. I don't know if other people have different opinions. If you do, put them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you on those. But I'm also going to go for England. Colombia has struggled Quadrado, I'm not saying his name.
Quadrado.
Yeah, he's had a great tournament. I think he's played very well, but don't call me James Rodriguez out is going to hurt them. And they've already kind of been struggling, and I just don't see them getting the result against firing England right now. Unfortunate to lose today against Belgium. England also had a good performance. So I think they're going to go through. England's going to be in the next round.
Gotcha. All right, so now let's jump into the quarterfinals. We're going back to the top of the bracket. We both picked Portugal, and we both picked France. Who do you see winning in a Euro Cup final rematch from just 2 years ago? France, will they get their revenge, or will Portugal once again get through the French?
I think this is unfortunately where Portugal's World Cup ends. I think France, the individual talents they have outweighs CR7's individual talent. And unfortunately, Portugal just doesn't have anyone else that I think is going to step up for them and provide that. So this is the end of the line for Portugal for me. France moves on.
Is that what you think?
I think so.
Yeah. Do you think that the mental aspect might come into play? Like, since France, the last 2 years they've been thinking about that loss, and do you think that might come into play? Do you think that favors Portugal, or do you think that's a non-issue?
I think it's a young France team, so they probably won't be too focused on that. They have a lot more future ahead of them, so I'm hoping that at least the coaches handed mentally into them. You got to get that out. You've got to get that out. Let's move on. They haven't had the greatest tournament, France, but they have the ability to move forward. And I think Portugal relies heavily on Cristiano Ronaldo, and he's had great performances, but history tells us great performances only happen so many times in a row before you have a dud. And when is he going to hit his dud? I think it's in this France game.
Well, he did miss a penalty against...
Yeah, but he also scored. So this is his dud coming up.
All right, fair enough. Unfortunately, I agree. I think France will overcome their Euro Cup loss. I think they'll move past Portugal. It hurts me to say. I hope I'm completely wrong. Portugal should win 5-0. That would be awesome.
That would be great.
I would love to be wrong. That'd be the one time where I would admit it.
It's every time I go against Republic. I'm like, I really want to be wrong. But
all right, so I got France moving on. Unfortunately, I'll probably get some heat from my brothers out there. But all right. So let's go to the other quarterfinal in the top half of the bracket. We both picked Brazil and Belgium. For me, I think Brazil gets by Belgium. I hate saying that. Unfortunately, I got some Brazilian friends out there that are very confident in their chances. So I wouldn't mind seeing them, be knocked out. But I do, unfortunately, think that they will get past Belgium. I just don't think Belgium has the fortitude to win a big game like that against Brazil. Maybe a big game against a lesser team. They have as much talent as Brazil, and people might disagree with that, but I mean, you look at their roster top to bottom, I mean, you could point to a few spots where they're even better. I would say that Courtois might be the best keeper in the world, but I just don't think that they're going to have the mental fortitude to get past Brazil, so I got them.
Yeah, I think you're right with Belgium. Belgium is like France to me. They're a very young team. They have a couple more World Cups in them. They're just a developing team. There's also some young Belgian players still going to come into this lineup and do things in the future. So I think they're a team for the future, but I think against Brazil's there right now. They're the team that is in top form. They have players from every league that are doing good, like we mentioned before. They have a starting 11 and a bench that any team would take any day. So for me, I want Belgium to win. I think they can. They are a good team, and I'm still hoping they can pull it out. But I think Brazil goes through.
Yeah, it should be a good game, though. I think we'll see with the amount of attacking talent that's out there. It should be a fun game. So moving on to the quarterfinal, to the bottom half of the bracket, we got Spain and Croatia. Man, what do you?
Spain and Russia?
Croatia. Spain and Croatia.
Oh, Spain and Croatia. Yeah.
Spain and Croatia in the quarterfinal match. What do you see there?
Croatia's been a good team, and it's hard to rule them out. But Spain can win any day. But this Spain team lacks a little bit. They do. They really, really do. In my opinion, it's not the greatest Spain. We've seen some great Spain teams in the past, and we'll probably see some great ones in the future. But this one is not a great one to me. So as far as they've gotten, I think Croatia's just overall passion to get through to the next round is going to win it for them. Again, we've talked about the good players Croatia has. So I'm going to go, this is probably a bit controversial like you talked about. I'm going to go with Croatia on this one, though. I don't think Spain makes it through.
I'm actually with you. I was hoping you were going to take Spain. I do think Croatia is going to win, and I say that because I think that they have the central midfield that can neutralize Spain. They're maybe one of 2 or 3 teams in the whole tournament that can match them player for player in the central part. So I do have Croatia. Some people might disagree with both of us.
I think some people would disagree with
I thought you were going to take Spain, but I have Croatia going through.
That's a good Croatia team.
They're a great team. And, there is a different World Cup winner every 20 years. This is the 20th year.
There's a lot of options,
Croatia's never won.
There's a lot of options for a new winner.
You could see them getting hot,
Yeah.
So, all right, moving on to our last quarterfinal match. We have England and... England / Switzerland / Sweden, right?
Yeah.
So I'll go first. I chose Sweden to win that game in the round of 16. I think England will beat Sweden. I think this is a tournament that England will show up in. I have them going to the semifinals. So England is my pick here against Sweden and or Switzerland. What do you think?
I'm going to say that this will be another good game, regardless if it's Sweden or Switzerland. I think both teams will give England a run for their money. I really do. England's a team that, we saw it against Belgium today, that can have their little bit of flaws here and there and can be taken advantage of if the right team comes. And Sweden has done that, and Switzerland has both done that in this tournament. But for me, I'm also with you. England's going to go through. They have a really good team right now. I think they're unfortunate not to get to the top of their group. They're a strong team, and they should be able to take on either a Sweden or a Switzerland team coming into this round. They'll move on.
All right, so I think we have the same Final Four in the semifinals: France, Brazil, Croatia, and England. Those are the 4 that I believe we both have. So we want to know your thoughts. We would love to hear where you think we, took a wrong turn. Maybe Spain. Maybe Portugal, who knows? Maybe you think even Argentina is going to get by France and France won't even sniff the semifinals. But moving on. All right, so congratulations again to Zach Ekrip for winning the World Cup Part 1 raffle. Now for Part 2. $25 Visa gift card. You can use it anywhere pretty much. That will be the prize for this raffle. Again, 2 ways to get in the raffle. You can share this on Facebook or retweet on Twitter for 1 opportunity to get in the raffle. And you can also comment on this video. You can let us know who was your standout player of the first round. I had Luka Modric as my first round standout player. Who did you have?
I think there's a few, but I think I'm going to go with
Harry Kane.
Harry Kane did good. I'm going to go with Lukaku. I think he's had a great
Lukaku. All right. So we want to hear who you think is, your standout player. Let us know in the comments. Let us know also who you think will make it to the semifinal. You don't necessarily have to say who's going to win, but who will be the 4 teams that will remain after the round of 16 and the quarterfinals. We'd love to hear more. Again, if you like this content, if you like our videos, please hit subscribe down below. Share our content with your family and friends, Sac Republic friends, soccer friends in general. We do all types of stuff. We just did a VAR video recently that you can check out. If you want to hear our thoughts about VAR, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. But again, thank you for supporting. Hope to see you next time.